Usually getting your sample on time is the first thing you will do when sampling. So it's crucial that you get this step right every time. But I know it's not that easy, especially if you're just starting out. So today I will show you how to get your sample on time every time in these 4 simple steps, starting with finding the BPM. So I grabbed this sample from our weekly samples on Sample Academy. It's called Is There a Place? And basically the first thing we have to do when matching the tempo of our sample is find the BPM. So there's a couple ways we can do that. So let's first listen to the sample. Right, so it's a very cool sample. So basically now we're just gonna tap the tempo. So you just have to follow the sample and tap on every quarter of the beat. So let's try to do that. So I will first listen to it and try to get into the tempo with it. And now I'll just try to tap the tempo into my DAW. So right, and that basically should match the BPM of my DAW with the sample. So now if we try to tune on the metronome and listen to it, it basically should be in time. Right, so that's already pretty much perfect, but it's still sloppy in a couple places. So the next thing we can do is match it visually. So basically we have the rough BPM of 141, it's almost 142, so let's just round it up to that. And now we can match it visually, whether the transients match with the grid of our sample. So we can see that there is a spike here. This is what's called a transient when we go from a low amplitude of a wave to a big amplitude. So this is a transient because there is a jump. So it's pretty much on the grid. We can see here we have a jump. This is probably a snare. Yeah, so there's a jump here. There is a jump here. We can see a jump there. So it pretty much matches our grid, but we can see that there is also a transient which is a bit off. This transient is a bit off, and this transient right here is a bit off. So you can just slightly try to bring it down maybe to like 41.5. This should be a little bit better. So this is very likely now that this is our BPM because now it matches both when we listen to it. And it matches visually when we look at it. So just to make sure that it's right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go on this website called BPM Finder. And basically I'm just gonna take my sample and drag it into here. And this should spit out the BPM of the sample for us. What we found is 141.5 and BPM Finder gave us 143. It's right around there, so it's about right. So let's just input that 143 that BPM Finder gave us. And we can see that it gets a little bit sloppy now with a couple places, but it's okay because we're gonna fix it in a moment. So the second step is we need to find the downbeat of our sample. So the downbeat is the first beat in a bar. So it's usually the strongest beat of the entire bar. And to explain it a little bit easier, it's usually the one that you want to nod your head to. So let's just try to find it in our sample. And by the way, if you want my personal help with your samples, then check out Sample Academy. It's first link in the description, and we currently have a free trial for everybody. So for me, the sample is already pretty much matched up with the grid. So I can see that my downbeats are right around here, the beginning of every bar. So let me just color every downbeat for you. And now you're gonna be able to notice how those downbeats, the first beat of the bar, is the one you want to nod your head to. So now to confirm that we found our downbeat, we can basically start counting. So we're gonna count from 1 to 4 because most songs are in a 4/4 time signature. So we're basically gonna count from 1 to 4. So let's try to do that and see if we actually found our downbeat. So if we did, then naturally the 1 is gonna fall on the downbeat. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can actually see that I kind of misinterpreted my downbeats because we're in double time. So I put way too many downbeats in here. So actually I'm gonna remove a couple of them. And now you can see that we actually have all our downbeats colors. So let's try to count this once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, now I'm confident that these are our actual downbeats. So let's move to step 3, which is stretching and warping our sample. So our sample is still not perfectly matched to the tempo. You can see that the transients are a little bit off of the time grid. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take the entirety of the sample and I'm gonna stretch it to the tempo. So you can do it both in Ableton and in FL. In FL Studio, it's called stretch mode. For Ableton, it's warping. So let's do it. Basically, I'm gonna warp the sample. So we can see our transient here. So this is our first downbeat. So basically, I'm gonna zoom in and I'm gonna grab this downbeat and drag it so it's perfectly on 1. And for me, this entire sample chop takes up 8 bars. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom out a little bit and then we can see our another downbeat here at the end of the 8th bar. So let's just zoom in, grab our downbeat which is here and drag it perfectly to 8 bars. And let's just resize our clip a bit. And now our sample is perfectly stretched to 8 bars. And now if we listen to it, it should be basically perfectly on time. So basically we could call it a day here if we were using repeat mode. So let me quickly explain why. So if we're using repeat mode, we wouldn't want to go any further with the sample, because if we were start to playing around with smaller sections of the sample and trying to match the smaller sections to tempo, basically what this would do is this would make that different smaller sections of the sample would have slightly different pitches, which would be very charming when you listen to it. And that basically stems from the fact that when humans play music, they're basically never perfectly on time and there's always a small difference in the BPM. Even if it's like a really minor difference, you could still notice it with the pitch if you were to go and fine-tune the sample anymore and stretch or warp it anymore. But if you're not using repeat mode, if you're using, for example, complex mode in Ableton, we can go ahead to the 4th step, which is fine-tuning. So basically, now that we have our entire 8 bars stretched to 8 bars, now we can go and grab the rest of the downbeats and actually match them to the beat. So I already see here in the middle, we have this downbeat right here. And it's slightly budged off time. So I'm just gonna grab it and put it on time. Same with this downbeat right here. And this downbeat right here. And so now that should put our sample even more on time. And really with fine-tuning we can go as small as we want to. So basically here the snare is a little bit off, so I'm just gonna grab it back. This snare is also a little bit off, so I'm just gonna push it back as well. I'm gonna go with this one as well and this one as well. And we can go as far as we want to with this. But for me, to be honest, this is all I would do, because if you try to fine-tune it too much, then it will basically feel very robotic. So we don't really want everything to be perfectly on grid. Some small differences are fine as long as the main beats are on time. So yeah, right now our sample is gonna be perfectly on time. So let's just listen to it. And as a bonus step, let's just create an entire beat around this sample. So basically what I did is I actually took this sample and removed the fine tuning from it because I wanted to put it on repeat mode. So if I do all that and I speed up the tempo of my beat, so I'm gonna speed it up to 155 BPM, it's gonna basically pitch our sample up. So it's gonna sound like this. Then I just took it and took the left side of the sample. I used a little bit of Cymatics Origin and EQ'd it out a bit just to take away some of the presence of it. And here's how it's gonna sound. Then I took this drum break and I also had to match it to the tempo of our beat. So after doing that and chopping it up a bit, here's what we've got. And then I just added a little bit of EQ to take a little bit of the presence of the high end, added a analog clip, a LA2A compressor, and another EQ to take again a little bit of the presence from the mid end. So here is how that sounds with the sample. And then I just took this analog bass and I just simply followed the bass line of the sample. Then to fill up the beat a little bit more, I grabbed two of those Juno synths. And to the first one I added a little bit of delay and a lot of chorus. And to the second one I added a lot of delay. So with the sample that will sound like this. And then I basically went through the process of matching my tempo of the sample again to create this section for a verse of the beat. So it sounds like this. If you want to learn how to add drums like this, how to add instruments like this, or find samples like this, then check out Sample Academy. It's the first link in the description, and we currently have a free trial for everybody. And so with some minor adjustments and a little bit of arrangement, here's how the final beat sounds.